Let me ask you a question that might change the way you think about relationships forever. Have you ever wondered why some men leave a lasting, unforgettable impression on women, while others, no matter how hard they try, remain invisible? It's a question that goes beyond surface-level charm or flashy gestures. And here's the truth that many overlook. Women aren't as mysterious or complicated as popular culture makes them out to be. In fact, when you truly understand the psychology behind their emotions and desires, you unlock something far more powerful than just good looks or wealth ever could. It's not about being the nicest guy in the room, and it's certainly not about shallow tricks or quick wins. Instead, it's about knowing how her mind truly works, what draws her in, what captures her attention, and what makes her feel a deep connection. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today. Welcome back to the Stoic Spirit. Today, we're diving into one of the most eye-opening and, yes, controversial topics in modern dating: how to use timeless psychological truths to create a deep emotional pull that captivates a woman's mind, not just making her chase you or like you superficially, but cultivating a presence so magnetic, so authentic, that she can't ignore you. A presence that lingers in her thoughts long after you've left the room. Let me be perfectly clear. This is not manipulation. This is awareness. It's about recognizing subtle triggers that most men overlook, and that many women won't consciously admit influence their feelings. Why? Because these reactions happen on a subconscious level. Women often can't explain why certain men occupy their minds and hearts, while others fade into the background, almost like background noise. But after today, you will understand exactly why. You're about to learn 7 psychological principles that speak directly to a woman's emotional core. These aren't gimmicks or empty pickup tactics. These are behavioral shifts, patterns of presence, and mindset adjustments that build genuine attraction rooted in respect, confidence, and emotional intelligence. And once you integrate these principles into your life, something powerful happens. She begins to feel drawn toward you naturally. She starts to value your presence. She elevates you in her perception without any forced effort on your part. Most men spend their lives chasing women who barely acknowledge them. After this video, you won't be one of them. You will understand what truly captures a woman's mind and, more importantly, how to cultivate that magnetic energy within yourself, naturally, authentically, and with integrity. So buckle up, because once you master these 7 principles, you won't just see women differently. You'll start seeing yourself differently. Number 1. Ignore her beauty. Praise her mind. This might sound counterintuitive, but trust me, it's one of the most powerful shifts you can make. Here's what most men get wrong. They meet a beautiful woman, and their first words are some version of, "Wow, you're stunning," or "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen." On the surface, that might seem polite, flattering even. But if your goal is to stand out, to plant yourself firmly in her mind long after you walk away, this is exactly the wrong move. Here's the hard truth. Attractive women hear compliments about their looks all the time. It means almost nothing to them anymore. They've developed a filter, a kind of emotional shield against endless superficial praise. When you lead with her appearance, you become just another voice in the crowd, another man feeding her ego and confirming what she already knows. And because of that, you're forgotten just as quickly as you appeared. But if you want her to notice you, to think about you when you're not around, to start wondering what makes you different, here's the shift you need to make. Ignore her beauty. Praise her mind. Compliment her intelligence, her humor, her passions, the unique way she sees the world. This approach connects you on a much deeper level, one that doesn't fade with time. When you acknowledge what truly makes her unique and special beyond the surface, you show that you see her as a whole person, not just a pretty face. This shift isn't just about words. It's about cultivating genuine curiosity and respect for who she is beneath the surface. When you do this, you become memorable. You become someone who stands apart from the crowd, someone whose presence she can't easily forget. And this is where true connection begins. Now, this is just the start. In the next principles, we'll explore how to deepen this emotional pull by mastering your own presence, balancing vulnerability with strength, and creating an energy that feels irresistible without ever forcing it. Because real attraction doesn't come from chasing or performing. It comes from being deeply aligned with who you are and how you show up in the world. So stay with me, because what you're learning today could change the way you experience relationships, and more importantly, the way you experience yourself. Very few men truly do this. Women, especially those who are often admired for their looks, are rarely seen beyond the surface. Most men get distracted by what they see and never stop to consider what lies beneath. And that's exactly where your power lies. When you focus on the parts of her that most overlook, her thoughts, her insight, her unique way of seeing the world, you tap into something far deeper, far more meaningful. Imagine this. You're speaking with a woman who makes an insightful comment about a book she's reading, or shares a perspective on business or life philosophy. Instead of glossing over it, you look her in the eyes and say something like, "You know, most people don't think like that. I can tell you notice things others miss. That's rare." That single statement hits differently. It reaches a part of her identity that rarely receives true recognition. Suddenly, you're no longer just another man chasing her for her beauty. You're the man who truly sees her, who notices her depth, her intelligence, her soul. And here's where the psychological dynamic flips. When you engage with her mind instead of her looks, something inside her shifts. She becomes curious. She starts seeking your approval, not for how she looks, but for something deeper, something she can't easily control. And that mystery, it's powerful, it's addictive. Psychologists call this a value reversal. Instead of you feeling lucky to be speaking with her, she begins to feel lucky, fortunate, to have caught your attention in a meaningful way. That shift in the dynamic builds a kind of obsession. You're no longer the admirer. You've become the challenge. And there's one more powerful layer to this approach. Timing your compliments. The less you speak about her looks upfront, the more impact your words will have when you finally do. If, after already connecting with her mind, you drop a simple, sincere line like, "By the way, you're also beautiful," it lands 10 times harder. Why? Because now it's not empty flattery. It's validation from a man she respects, one who isn't chasing her, but one she's invested in earning attention from. Bottom line, don't feed the part of her that everyone already sees. Feed the part she hides. That's where true obsession begins. Now, let's move on to principle number 2. Pull away when she wants you close. This is a move that very few men master. And because of that, it works like nothing else. It doesn't just spark attraction. It triggers a deeper emotional pull that she won't even be able to explain. Here's why. Most men follow the same emotional script. When a woman starts leaning in, texting more, calling more, becoming more affectionate, they think they've reached the finish line. They believe it's time to match her energy, to keep her close at all costs. So they double down. More attention, more availability, more emotional investment, but without realizing it, they kill the very tension that made her interested in the first place. Here's the truth most men don't get. Women don't crave men who are always available. They crave men who know how to create and hold emotional tension. And one of the most effective and counterintuitive ways to do this is by pulling away. When she's pulling closer, it's not about playing games. It's about respecting your own value, your own emotional boundaries, and allowing space for desire to build naturally. When you step back just enough, when you don't immediately respond to every text or call, when you don't always say yes to every invitation, you create a magnetic tension that draws her in deeper. Suddenly, your presence feels more valuable because it's not guaranteed. And this emotional push and pull, it's the heartbeat of attraction. You pull away when she begins moving closer, but not in a manipulative way, not ghosting, not being cold or distant. Instead, you simply become just slightly less available than she expects at that moment, just enough for her to feel a subtle uncertainty, just enough to make her pause and question where she stands with you. And in that tiny space between her expectation of closeness and the gentle gap you create, her mind begins to race. Why? Because women thrive on emotional stimulation. Predictability kills desire. When she knows she can have you whenever she wants, the excitement fades. But when she almost has you, you activate an entirely different part of her psychology. Now, she starts wondering, is he losing interest? Did I say something wrong? Why can't I stop thinking about this? And that, my friend, is exactly where you want to be. Right there in her head, sparking that magnetic curiosity. But here's the catch. Most men are terrified to pull back, especially when things seem to be going well. They fear losing her, and that fear leads to overcompensation, neediness, chasing, over-validating, behaviors that only push her further away. The man who holds back, who stays grounded and centered, is the man who captivates her. He's the man with options. He's the man who enjoys her presence but isn't ruled by it. He leads rather than reacts. And this energy is what women find truly magnetic. Now, pulling away doesn't mean treating her coldly. It means mastering your own pace. You don't accelerate just because she does. You stay aligned with your frame, respond on your terms, and allow space for her to lean in without rushing to close the gap. That subtle emotional distance creates what I call emotional gravity. It pulls her toward you with increasing intensity. She leans in harder, trying to close the gap, trying to win back your focus. And this is where the dynamic shifts in your favor. Because when you do show affection, when you give her your full attention, it's powerful, it's deliberate, it's not given from need, but from choice. And that, gentlemen, is irresistible. When a woman knows your affection is earned, not guaranteed, it becomes infinitely more valuable. This isn't about playing games. It's about cultivating presence. It's about leading with strength and restraint. So remember this. Pulling away when she wants you close isn't punishment. It's about creating the space for true desire to grow. Desire is born in tension, not certainty. And when you understand this, you no longer chase validation. You become the source of it. Emotional gravity is your ally. Use it wisely. Now, onto number 3. Make her jealous, subtly. Let's talk about a topic that makes many men uncomfortable: jealousy. Most men shy away from it because they believe making a woman jealous is toxic or manipulative. But here's the truth. When done with restraint and authentic confidence, Subtle jealousy can be one of the strongest emotional triggers you activate. Not to harm her, not to create insecurity, but to quietly remind her you are a man of value, a man whose attention is not easily won. Here's the mistake many men make. Once they receive a woman's attention, they drop everything and start orbiting around her. They stop engaging with their world, abandon their social circles, and act like they've already secured the prize. This is the surest way to kill attraction, because deep down, women are wired to compete for men they perceive as desirable. If no one else seems to want you, she may start questioning why she did in the first place. But if she subtly senses other women are drawn to you, everything changes. She tunes in more closely. She feels a quiet tension, a drive to hold your attention now. This doesn't mean flaunting other women in front of her or bragging about how many women want you. That's childish and weak. The key here is subtlety and presence. It's in the way you carry yourself. It's in maintaining an active, rich life outside of her. It's in letting her see you're a man who is naturally valued by others, without needing to announce it. You don't seek her validation. You remain socially alive and in demand because you choose to be. And women feel this energy. They pick up on it without a single word needing to be spoken. If she notices that you are naturally well regarded, that others, both men and women, genuinely enjoy being around you, a switch flips in her mind. Now, two powerful things begin to happen. First, she feels a subtle sense of competition. She starts investing more effort to keep your attention. Second, she begins thinking about you far more than she ever intended. That emotional investment deepens her connection, because women are far more engaged when they sense your attention must be earned, not simply expected. Here's the critical warning. If you try too hard to manufacture jealousy, it will backfire. You'll appear insecure and manipulative, and nothing kills genuine attraction faster than forced behavior. The key is to embody this naturally. Live a life that is full, rich, and vibrant. Be the man who attracts attention without ever chasing it. When this energy is authentic, women respond instinctively. Jealousy then becomes a natural side effect of your strength, not a tool you need to force. So remember, subtle jealousy, handled with calm presence, draws her in emotionally. It keeps her invested. It keeps her attentive. And it shifts the dynamic in your favor without ever needing to play childish games. Stay grounded. Stay socially alive. And always remain a man who moves through life with purpose and choice. When she senses she is not the only one who finds you valuable, her desire to secure your attention will only grow stronger. Now, Principle 4. Act like you could walk away anytime. There's a quiet power in a man who does not cling, a man who knows he will not lose himself, no matter who comes or goes. That mindset alone sets you apart from nearly every other man. Most men, once they taste a little affection, a kind word, or a moment of intimacy, begin to grip too tightly. Suddenly, the relationship becomes their lifeline. They overthink, they fear loss, and they bend over backward trying to please. In doing so, they surrender their power without even realizing it. Here's the truth most men ignore. Women are not drawn to men who act like they can't live without them. They're drawn to those who remain centered, grounded, completely unmoved by the fear of walking away. This kind of calm confidence forces a woman to pause, to question, to feel the pull of uncertainty, because now you're no longer reacting to her. You're setting the tone. You're choosing whether she continues to be part of your world. When you embody the energy of a man who could walk away at any time, it communicates something deep and powerful. You are not emotionally dependent. You are not driven by a need for validation. You are present because she brings value to your life. And if that value shifts, you will leave without drama, without explanation. This is the frame that shifts the entire dynamic. It doesn't create chaos. It creates clarity. And that clarity makes her invest. It makes her step up. It makes her wonder, how do I hold this man's attention? That wondering is powerful. It creates emotional pull. Not because you forced it, but because you refuse to settle. You become a challenge, not a man to be pied or pursued for approval. And most importantly, you reclaim your masculine center. Most women are used to men who are terrified of losing them. Men who constantly seek reassurance. Men who sacrifice self-respect just to avoid conflict. But when you break that pattern, when you calmly show her that you will not tolerate half-effort or emotional games, she sees you differently. She respects you. She reflects on you when you are absent. She begins to chase the feeling your presence provides. Not because of scarcity, but because of strength. Walking away is not a threat. It is a standard, a reflection of a man who stands complete in himself, a man who holds the door open for himself, not just for her. When a woman feels this, she leans in. She invests more deeply, and she is drawn not to a man lost in her world, but to a man who is built a world of his own. Remember this. I want you, but I do not need you. That is the unspoken truth that keeps you powerful. It is the foundation of emotional freedom. And when you walk through life this way, rooted, strong, and unwavering, you will find that those worth having will choose to be part of your world because they respect the man who would walk away. If they did and single quotes T5, be unpredictable. One of the most dangerous mistakes you can make with a woman is becoming predictable. The moment she feels she has figured you out, your edge begins to fade. The curiosity that once kept her thinking about you starts to die. And when that happens, so does her emotional investment. Why? Because human nature is wired for curiosity. We stay emotionally attached to what we can't fully understand. Women are no different. In fact, they are more sensitive to this dynamic than most men realize. When you show up in a smooth, controlled, and intentional way, but remain unpredictable, you stay on her mind. You create emotional tension without even trying. She starts wondering, what is he thinking? What will he do next? Why does he feel different today? That wondering is exactly what you want. Not because you're playing games, but because you refuse to become robotic. Too many men fall into routines. Same messages, same tone, same patterns, and in doing so, they become easy to predict and easy to forget. If you want to hold her attention, you must embrace subtle unpredictability now. Let's be clear. Being unpredictable does not mean being unstable or inconsistent in your values. Your core must remain steady, your principles unshakable, but your presence, your energy, should not be routine. This means varying how and when you engage. If you always text back immediately, sometimes wait. If you always initiate plans, step back and allow space for her to wonder. If you always compliment her the same way, shift your tone. Keep her guessing. Even small changes create powerful effects. Let's say you're usually deep and serious when you speak with her, but one evening, you show a playful side. You tease her gently. You surprise her with lightness. That single shift can plant a new layer of curiosity in her mind. She goes to bed thinking about it, not because it was dramatic, but because it broke the pattern. And breaking patterns is how you stay captivating. Women crave emotional variety if they can predict your every move. they emotionally check out. But when they sense there's always something more, something they haven't fully figured out, you remain a puzzle they want to solve. And the more they try to solve it, the deeper their emotional investment becomes. This is not manipulation. It is the art of remaining a man of depth and presence. A man who reveals layers on his own terms. Routine makes you boring, predictability makes you forgettable. But controlled unpredictability makes you unforgettable. That it taps into an ancient part of the female mind where mystery equals value. The goal is simple: be consistent in your confidence, be unwavering in your values, but be unpredictable in your presence. Let her feel that every moment with you is slightly different. Let her experience shifts in tone, energy, and depth. Not because you are trying to impress her, but because you are a man with layers. One who leads life with self-mastery, not robotic behavior. And here is the truth few will tell you. When a woman can't fully figure you out, she starts building stories in her head. She starts imagining. She invests more time and emotion trying to decode you. And once you are in her head like that, it becomes almost impossible for her to let go. 6. Trigger her competitive side with other women. There's a part of every woman's psychology that few men truly understand. The competitive instinct. Whether they admit it or not, most women are naturally competitive, especially when it comes to men they truly desire. They may act cool on the surface, but when a woman sees other women drawn to you, laughing at your jokes, leaning into your presence, seeking your attention, something shifts inside her. It's not a push away, but a protective release, a need to guard her place, to prove she is the one who should matter most. Here's where most men fail. As soon as they start liking a woman, they drop everyone else. They focus entirely on her. They believe loyalty from day one will earn her affection. They think showing her she's the only one will deepen her desire. But here's the paradox. It often has the opposite effect. When a woman senses that you have no other options, no other attention, she starts taking your presence for granted. She feels no urgency, no need to compete. And when there is no challenge, attraction fades. Now, contrast that with a different scenario. She observes that other women naturally find you attractive. They are drawn to your energy. You're not seeking their attention, but it comes. Suddenly, her psychology shifts. It becomes about status, about proving she can stand out, about winning the attention of a man who is in demand. Here's the truth. Women hate the idea of being replaceable, especially once they're emotionally invested. The moment she senses you have real, present options, her instinct to compete is triggered. She steps up her game. She watches more closely. She listens more intently. She invests more emotionally because now she feels that keeping your attention must be earned. But here's the key. You must live this authentically. Do not force it. Do not flaunt it. Men who overtly try to make women jealous often come across as desperate or insecure. Instead, focus on building a life where this dynamic happens naturally. Be socially alive, be charismatic. Pursue your passion and engage with others. Allow women to be drawn to you without needing to orchestrate it. When she sees this with her own eyes, when she witnesses your social value without you trying to showcase it, that's when the real shift happens. Suddenly, she is no longer passive. She is engaged. She pays attention to your words. She watches your responses. She starts to chase. Because now, in her mind, you're no longer just a man hoping to win her. You're a man others also desire. You're the man she now wants to keep others away from. And this emotional competition deepens her investment. She feels more connected, more aware, more drawn into the dynamic. Here is what most men never realize. You don't have to change yourself to create this effect. You don't need to pretend, simply embody a life of richness, purpose, and confidence. When you do, women will notice. And when one woman sees other women noticing you, her perception of you elevates dramatically. Now, you're no longer just a guy who likes her. You're the man others admire too. And that changes everything. That it taps into something ancient, an instinct that says, if others want him, he must be worth wanting. That's when her desire to prove herself ignites. She wants to stand out, to claim her place beside you. And once she's in that mindset, once she feels that emotional urgency, it becomes much harder for her to step away. That is the power of triggering her competitive side. It builds deep emotional pull, it creates lasting captivation, and it positions you as the man she does not want to lose. 7. Give her attention, then take it away. Far too many men reveal their desperation for connection, and it shows. They meet a woman, she gives them a little attention, and suddenly they open the floodgates. 7. Give her attention, then take it away. Far too many men reveal their desperation for connection, and it shows. The moment they meet a woman, she gives them a little attention, and suddenly they open the floodgates. Validation, compliments, time, energy. It pours out uncontrollably like a force they can't shut off. Their intentions may feel genuine, but they don't realize the damage they're causing. Giving attention constantly without strategic pullback is the fastest way to erode attraction. Why? Because there's no contrast, no emotional tension, no space for her to miss you, no opportunity for her to wonder about you, no time to appreciate the attention she's receiving. Understand this clearly. You've likely been conditioned to believe that always being available, always being nice, and always showing her how much you care is the key to winning her affection. Yes, being a good man matters, but predictable, emotionally needy, ever-accessible behavior kills desire. It doesn't create longing. It breeds boredom. Endless attention fades into background noise. It ceases to impact her emotionally. It no longer feels special. It no longer feels earned. What truly captivates a woman is contrast, the experience of receiving your attention, then not, the high of connection followed by absence. This cycle is what creates emotional depth. It makes your presence valuable, and more importantly, it triggers her desire to seek it again. Unfortunately, most men sabotage this dynamic. They never give her the opportunity to chase. Why? Because they're too busy chasing her. Always texting first. Always initiating plans. Always filling the silence out of fear. Fear of losing her. But here is the painful truth. In doing so, they lose her anyway. Not because they're bad men, but because they never allowed her to experience the space required to miss them. So here's your wake-up call. Stop fearing the pullback. Stop letting her reaction dictate your next move. You're not meant to be a servant to her emotions. You are the leader of the emotional dynamic. You are the man who creates the rhythm that keeps her drawn in. This means offering her real moments of connection, authentic, grounded, valuable, then stepping back, creating silence, living your life, letting her mind wander, letting her feel your absence. This tension is critical. It makes her replay your words, it makes her check her phone. It makes her crave the next time you show up. Here's the key insight. Attention only holds value when it's earned, when it's given sparingly, when it's unpredictable, when it feels like a reward, not a constant stream. You don't need to beg for her time. You need to embody a life where your time is respected, and when you give it, it means something. So stop overgiving. Stop fearing the quiet. Stop drowning her in attention and convincing yourself that is love. Learn the power of restraint. Give freely when you choose, then take it away without apology. Let her feel the space you leave behind. Let her experience the shift. And when she begins chasing your energy, you won't be just another man in her orbit. You'll be the man whose presence she deeply craves. The man she thinks about long after you've gone quiet. This is the essence of masculine emotional leadership. It's not about withholding love. It's about understanding timing, contrast, and value. Master this rhythm, and you master the ability to draw her closer than any constant attention ever could. Here's a truth few dare to speak. Women don't fall for the man who gives them everything. They fall for the man they can never fully possess. That's the uncomfortable reality. The more available, predictable, and emotionally exposed you are, the less room there is for deep craving. To grow, it's the uncertainty, the tension, the mystery of not knowing if she's winning or losing you that draws her back again and again. It's not how nice you are. It's not how consistently you show up. It's how much she must strive to earn your attention. And no, this is not about playing games. It's about understanding the psychology of attraction many men ignore. You've been taught to lead with love, but few have taught you to lead with presence and power. That's why so many good men are ghosted, ignored, left wondering what went wrong. It's not because they aren't worthy. It's because they're too easy to figure out, too predictable to create depth of desire. If this resonated with you, if it challenged something inside, I want to hear about it. Drop your experience in the comments. Share your wake-up moments, the times you realized you gave too much and received nothing back. I read every comment and I respond, because this is not just content, it's a movement, a mindset shift, a brotherhood. We're building stronger men, smarter men, men who command respect, men whose presence captivates. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and remember, your true power is never in chasing, it's in becoming the man she cannot ignore.